The diner buzzed with the easy hum of conversation and the clinking of coffee cups against saucers. It was one of those small-town places where the smell of bacon and maple syrup felt like home. At the corner booth, a tired woman named Sarah sat quietly, nervously picking at a half-eaten plate of pancakes. Her hair was pulled back in a messy bun, her clothes were worn, and her eyes, though weary, still held a trace of gentle strength. Across from her sat a man no one dared approach, a tall, broad-shouldered biker in a leather jacket, his beard thick, his arms inked with tattoos that spoke of a hard life. He was known around town as Ryder, a man who didn't talk much but whose presence filled every space he entered. Sarah had been sitting there for almost an hour, sipping from a refilled cup of coffee that she clearly couldn't afford. When the waitress, Mary, came to clear the plates, Sarah hesitated. Her voice trembled as she asked, would it be okay if I took the leftovers? For my daughter? The diner went silent. Even the sound of the jukebox seemed to fade. People turned their heads, some curious, some uncomfortable. It wasn't every day someone asked for scraps in a place like that. Mary blinked, unsure how to respond. Before she could say anything, Ryder's deep voice broke the silence. "You got a daughter, huh?" Sarah looked up, startled. "Yes, she's 8. She loves pancakes." Ryder nodded slowly, his rough hands resting on the table. "You live nearby?" "About 2 miles out," she said softly. "We've been staying in my car, just until I find work." The biker didn't say another word. He stood, tossed a few bills onto the table, and walked to the counter. The waitress called after him, "Hey, you forgot your change." But he didn't turn around. Instead, he leaned toward the cook and muttered something no one could hear. Then, without another glance, he walked out of the diner, the sound of his boots echoing against the tile floor. Sarah looked around, confused, clutching the small box of leftovers like it was gold. The waitress returned a moment later, carrying 2 large takeout bags. "These are for you," she said softly. "On the house." Sarah's eyes widened. I didn't order this." Mary smiled gently. The man at the counter did. "Said it was for you and your little girl. There's enough food here for days." Tears welled up in Sarah's eyes as she whispered, "I didn't even get to thank him." Outside, through the large diner window, she could see the biker mounting his motorcycle. Just as the engine roared to life, he glanced back through the glass and met her gaze for the briefest second. He raised 2 fingers in a small salute, rough, simple, but full of meaning, before riding off into the dusk. The diner remained silent for a long moment after he left. Then someone muttered, "Did you see that? Ryder, of all people." Mary nodded, her voice soft. "Maybe folks ain't always what they look like." Sarah walked out into the fading sunlight, clutching the bags to her chest. The wind carried the faint sound of a motorcycle disappearing down the highway, and for the first time in months, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. When she reached her car, her daughter Lily stirred awake in the back seat. "Mommy, did you get something to eat?" Sarah smiled through her tears, placing the warm boxes on her lap. "Yeah, sweetheart," she whispered. "Someone just gave us a little miracle." And somewhere miles away, a lone biker rode down an open road, his heart a little lighter than before, the sound of the engine blending into the twilight sky.